How are you?
I'm very well. And let me tell you something. I very grudgingly watched the show. And when I watched it, you were my star of the show, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
So, how's it been for you? I mean, you like quite the star, a meme fest, a lot of love coming your way. And the others also, there's the other side too. What has it been like for you post Indian matchmaking?
Been a busy roller coaster to say in the least. I mean, it's just been a lot of conversations that I've been having both in the media and then with people about all the topics that the show brought up, and people are very excited to talk about them. They're very angry with some of them. They're very happy with some of them, and so that's been the best part for me, really, talking about that colorism and that casteism and heightism. I didn't even know height existed like that. Like someone told me, oh yeah, if you're under 5'3", it's bad. And I'm like, I really, is that a thing? So I've been learning too. This is a big part of a conversation, and I've been doing a lot of learning myself.
It actually, when I watched the show, and one would read these matrimonial ads in India that you get, and
Hmm.
some of the ads are cringe worthy. Convent educated, fair, slim, petite girl who knows how to cook. So basically, they want a robot who is just you press the button and she'll deliver everything to you. Then I watched this show, I was like, oh my God, what am I seeing? And I could, in a way, relate to you because you knew your mind, according to me. You spelt it the way you wanted it. But according to Simataparia, I mean, I would actually fail her, all the boxes. So, I mean, I was like, what is this show? What is it all about? What was your perception when you watched it as a viewer?
It's interesting when you're taping it, you don't know about all the things that are being said off the camera. And so I never heard any of that language. Oh, you have to compromise. Oh, you have to be flexible. Oh, you have to, settle or anything like that. So I was confused to see it on the screen. I thought, is that really what she thought? Because, she never told me that. And not that I really maybe would have listened, because I think the way she says it, it means you need to settle. And I don't
Yeah.
think that women or men need to settle in finding the one that's right for them. I mean, if you're looking really for your life partner, not for a husband or a wife, but your partner, then you need to take your time and you need to think about what that looks like, and you need to be very careful with it, because like I said in the show, like, you can't pick your parents, you can't pick your siblings, you can't pick your own children, but this is your one family member that you can select, and it is your family. Your partner is your family. And so I really think that for me, that was that is a big decision that I'm making, and nothing was really going to sway me for thinking that I have to settle.
And how come you decided to do this? I mean, kudos for actually coming on board and doing a show like this. What made you? I mean, I remember you saying in the show that all avenues, I wanted to check this avenue out too. So, when were you on the show? Did it represent you the way you are as a person, or was it something different?
Well, first of all, I signed up for a docu-series, which is not a reality show, and this is a reality show. I was told this would be about my culture, highlighting the best parts. It would be a matchmaker trying to find me um, a match, and I thought, what a great idea! What a way to show my culture off to the world. Actually, at that point, I don't think we knew it was the world, so we didn't know that until quite much later. And that's the process I went into it with, thinking like, oh, it's a documentary about us 7 people finding love or trying to find love. And so it was quite a different scene than when I watched it 2 years after that. And I still think I would do it again. It was very positive, the experience for me. Like you said, maybe my character was polarizing because of the edit and the way that things were portrayed, but all of us were supposed to be polarizing, right? This is a show about 7 archetypes of people. Like, that's not really actually not really Pradhaman. That's not really Ankita. That's hundreds of hours of footage comprised into less than 1 hour sometimes of that person. And there's a reason that those are the scenes that are used, and there's a reason that that's the way that they're portrayed. It's because each of us is an archetype. And so I'm finding it very confusing that people are so they're like, this is true, and I'm like, it's not true for me, but it's also not true for anyone on that show, because there's no way a TV show can encapsulate a person, and this one's not even trying.
I just didn't like the way she portrayed the men versus the women.
Yes.
Like Pradyuman's case, he could be just what he wanted, And while if the woman was clear in what she wanted, she was inflexible, she was negative, she would have to compromise. And when she spoke about compromise, a lot of people here in India, single women, successful women, have come across this, that, oh, you're not married after a certain age, you will have to compromise. How come the man wouldn't want to compromise? So, and I was just appalled that there was somebody else who's matchmaking people and actually telling them compromise is for you and not for him.
Yeah, that was surprising for me to see too. Again, I never heard that one. She was in front of me. I didn't know that everyone wasn't just getting one match like me. So she told me on the show, you see, she's like, I'm only going to give you one person because you need to just trust me and you need to go with this person. And I was like, oh, she's doing this to everyone. This is her procedure. This is her process. Like, if this is the way she does her work, I don't like it. But if, that's just the way it's going to be. And then later I see her on the show giving everybody all these options and having them pick out. Even Nadia here in the States, she gave her 3 men and she lined them up and she said, which one do you want first? Which one do you want second? Which one do you want third? And Nadia got to pick her selections. And for me, I thought I would have liked that option. That would have been nice for me too. But I didn't know that that was an option. And I didn't know that she did her business differently with different clients. So yeah, there were definitely some parts that I thought were unfair in the way that she, dealt with matchmaking with me.
I know she came across as a little judgy to me. I'll be very honest and frank with you because I've come across people like that. And it's sadly the reality with women even here. I mean, successful women, married women who will look down upon another who's not married, like I've heard of people who say, oh, so many years, working so successful and still gotten not married. I mean, how is that to justify you as a person, whether you're married or not? This is something I can't wrap my head around. What's your say on this?
I think a lot of people see marriage as a milestone. That's like a very important one to they would prefer if you did it at a certain age, whatever your society says is the right age. So before 25, before 30, before this. But that's not the way life works. Some of us will get married very young. Some of us will get married very late. Some of us will find our careers very young. Some will find it very late. Some will find our health. Some will find it very late. I think that's the whole point about this. There's no milestone. There's no exact age that's the right age for any of these things. And I lump marriage in with that as well. And so for me, I've always just said, like, when the time is right, I'll meet the right person. And I'm going to do the work. I was going to try. I was going to, it's not like I'm going to sit in my house all the time and expect Prince Charming to knock on the door. I have to go to parties. I have to be set up on dates with my friends. If I see this application for the show, I have to sign up and try. Like, I had to try, and I still continue thinking that that's the correct way to go about it for me. And that's just for me. A lot of people don't have to think like me, but I mean, for me, I'm doing what's right for what I think I need.
I so agree with you on that, because it's each to his own. Because some people they look happily married, but could be miserable. Somebody may look single and miserable, but just could be the happiest person around, Right. And well, yeah, each to his. And so I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very important to believe that like we're all on our own paths and our own journeys, and that they will look different, and that there's no right or wrong to that. It's just different.
And what did you think about the meme fest that you also began? You were so popular on memes. What did you think about that?
I thought they were hilarious. I was reposting most of them as I saw them, especially those first weeks when they were coming in like fire. People are so creative. I feel like memes is a way that people show that they love the show and that they have something to say about the show, and they take their time and they make them. And that says a lot about that viewer, right? It says that they cared enough to create this moment, and put it out there on social media. And so for me, I thought, well, let me enjoy these. They're not even all about me. They're about other characters. They were about the show in general. And, so many people had different ways of coming up with the same line, like, especially that one that like Sima said, the stars aren't aligned. That became hilarious because all these people came up with different ways to like make memes on them. And I appreciate that. I mean, I think that means that they loved the show.
True. So somebody's asked a question: have you met new people after the success of the show? That Damni's asked that question.
Am I dating new people? No. So we're in Houston right here. It's pretty bad with the COVID situation. So I have not been dating since about March or so, and especially since the show, I'm not really ready right now to start dating again. I probably need another month or two. I think a lot of my castmates are saying that too. This has been a new experience for all of us. We could not have anticipated it at all. And so I'm still working full time during the day. I'm a lawyer, and then I'm working on my travel company, and then I'm doing these awesome IG lives and press and all that stuff. It's a lot of new things for me that I'm adding into my day, and I just think I'd be a really not very focused right now if I started dating. And I think that dating does take focus, meeting new people, giving them an opportunity to share their life with you and you to share yours with them. That's a commitment in itself, just starting the process. And so I want to just be mindful of that and start in like maybe a month or two or three.
And what intrigued me most was on the checklist was believe in salt flats. And for the life of me, even I didn't know there were salt flats in Bolivia.
Oh,
and I pride myself on someone who's very aware because I love to travel as well.
lovely.
And so how did that happen? Tell us a bit about that, because a lot of people will believe in salt flats. Yeah, really.
Yeah, so someone actually shared the Google Analytics with me like a week or two after the launch, and they said, this is in India. And I looked up how Bolivia salt flats terms is being searched, and it went from like 000, like millions. Like people were searching that term on Google like nobody's business across the world. And so I found that pretty funny. I mean, that's part of the show's criteria. For me, it's really not the criteria. My criteria was pretty simple. I had two things to tell Sima auntie. I'm not sure the viewer sees that, but I told her I want someone more introverted, someone like more quiet, someone who's more like calm and chill, laid back. And she looked at me and said, no. And I said, what? And she's like, no, I want you with someone jolly. And I was like, well, I don't know what that word means. That's Santa Claus. Like, we don't use that word in America. What does that mean? Like, and she was like, you don't get that person. And I was like, but that's what I want. I want someone like chill, like relaxed. And she was like, no. It's like, okay. And then I said, I want someone very, very intelligent, and not just like school smart, but like like they love the world around them. They love learning about it and they want to share it with me. Like someone who's excited to like get new information and then share it, you know? And so, she said, this is the person I'm giving you. And she gave me the first match. So I don't know if she was really listening to me, to be honest. And the Bolivian salt flats were not a part of my criteria to her. Neither, but me saying I don't want the funniest man in the room, that was me trying to explain to her, like, maybe she doesn't understand what I'm saying by introvert. I was like, what is the Hindi word for introvert? My Hindi is very bad. And so I was like, not the funniest person, like more calm. Like I'm trying to explain this to her thinking like, oh, it's a language issue. No, it wasn't I don't think it was a language issue.
Oh my Lord. Imagine what if Simataparia would have met me. She would have said, this one is doomed for life. Anyways, So that's what Dami also asked. Any message you would want to give Sima auntie, since she is the goddess of matchmaking? She is the Cupid that,
Yeah,
I don't see the Cupid with angels, maybe wings. Maybe Sima auntie is our new Cupid. Any
she is.
message for her?
She's working hard. She's been doing this business for 20 years and she's very successful. And there must be a reason that she's so successful. And her business is booming right now. Like people are even trying to DM me sometimes, try to get her information. I'm like, I don't actually have it, but she has a website and that's good. I want her business to thrive. She deserves that. She's worked very hard and she believes in matchmaking. She really does. And so I wish her all the best in her successes. And I know that if they do a season 2, she would be a great addition to that. And so I'm sure that as they announce that, if they announce that, we'll hear more about whether Sima auntie is going to join them or not.
And there seem to be fans of Shekhar here who actually feel that he was the right match for you. What do you have to say?
I just saw him this weekend. I was in Chicago for work. We are very good friends. I made sure to see him. I think I saw him 2 or 3 times over the weekend. I have to say from the show, I have made very good friends from the men I went on dates with. Like I'm still talking to Dilip and Jay and Shaker. They are very kind. They are very decent. They're very smart men. They weren't the one for me. They weren't my future husband, but they were the right friends for me. They've been my cheerleaders. They've supported me in the beginning. They would be like, saw on Twitter that someone said something mean about you. I was like, well, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't even know about that. And I don't mind. Like, if they think that reality television is true, I can't help them anyway. There's nothing we can do about those people. Like, and so just leave it be. Like, and they're like, no, no, we want to defend you. I'm like, please don't worry about it. Like, but that's how kind these men are. That's how great they are, you know, like, so I feel lucky. I feel lucky to get to know those people. And I've gotten to know my castmates, even though I haven't met them. I'm very close to Ankita in Delhi, and she's just a strong, beautiful woman, and she's doing such amazing things with her business. And I'm there to support that too. You know, like that's what this experience is about making these lifelong connections with people that we haven't even met yet sometimes because of COVID.
Absolutely. And also your mom was an integral part of the entire show, and Sima had some comments for her. So what was your mom's reaction after she saw it premiere on Netflix? I mean, when you were shooting and post that, what was her reaction?
Yeah, she obviously didn't appreciate it because it was just not true. Like they they said that they showed that she said some choice words about my first date, and the reason she said that, and the reason I said I will talk to him never is because off camera he was very disrespectful. He was very demeaning. He was very hurtful to me. My mom was very upset by that. I was very upset that I was treated that way. But that wasn't shown to the viewer. The viewer thinks that it's because he had a podcast or something. I don't care that he has a podcast. I literally could care less. I care that he was disrespectful to me. And I want to tell women, like, if someone treats you poorly, do not talk to them ever again. And if your mom gets mad about it, allow her to be mad about it. Like, these are not the ways we should be treated by men. And if someone makes you feel like that, then, like, yeah, make a stand. Say that's unacceptable, because it is unacceptable, really, especially on a first date when someone is meeting your family and there for the experience of allegedly meeting you, you know, with the intent of you know, potentially marrying you. That's not the way you should be treated. And none of the other men treated me like that. That's why I'm friends with all of them. Like, why am I friends with every single guy I went on a date with except the first one? Because every other man was a deep and he was a kind man and he respected me. My dates were 10 hours long. You know, like, you saw 10 seconds of them, but sometimes they were 10 hours long. So we got along, these people and I. We don't want to marry each other, but we got along. Like, they're good people. And I will say that about all of them except for the first gentleman.
And since you also, I mean, I just saw pictures of you traveling. I mean, you were in Arizona, isn't it?
Chicago for work. That's where
yeah, you were traveling. So, I
yeah.
mean, what more? I mean, you also told us what you must pack and not pack. So, I mean, what tips would you give a single girl who's traveling all by herself?
Yeah.
What does she take with her? And maybe
Definitely.
get the guy's eye.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, so for clothes, well, I mean, always remember the climate you're going to, because sometimes I'm like not prepared at all. I'm going to like Chicago was much colder than where I. And so be prepared for the weather changes, layer up clothes, because I was wearing a jacket at one point and then could take it off if it got hot. But I say, like, always just like think about the things that make you comfortable and fine. Like, and I don't believe in dressing, by the way, for men or to catch their eye at all. In fact, I think that's a bigger issue about the show and what we're talking about on the show about likability of women. Like, Sima says to me, like, change your talking pattern, like, do this, do that. And I think that the way that we tell women that they have to be likable to men and the way that they dress or the way that they speak is unacceptable. And we that is such a young age that I wonder if they even have a chance to process it. Like, by age 10, you're thinking like, oh, so many boys like that girl. She's so pretty. Like, what can I do to be like her? By age 15, how do I get my first boyfriend? What do I have to do to be likable to the boys in my classroom? And there's so many things that we do. And for me, in my 30s now, I just say no. Like, I'm not going to think about when I travel what the men want me to wear or what's going to make me catch a man's eye. Am I comfortable? Do I feel good about myself? Am I in, you know, things that I can move around in and walk around in all day? Like, yes. So then I'm good. So always when you're traveling, dress for comfort, just for yourself, just to stay in the right temperature, and then don't think about anything else.
And lastly, I was very curious to know, because we all have a list of, you know, like some people have, if I can talk to a guy for 2 hours, I will marry him, you know, because, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that I don't like someone who talks to the waiters, because if he's talking about football, I mean, is that the only thing he's interested in? So what for you is the deal maker and the deal breaker?
So for that particular comment, I was saying I don't like it when I'm on a 1 hour date and the guy starts talking about his travels and his the dream football team and his politics with anyone, the wait staff, or with someone that I know that comes up to us to say hello or anything like that. A first date is a tricky situation. You're trying to get to know the person, you're trying to spend time with them, but you also probably have work the next day, and you might have, you know, emails to respond to when you get home, and all of those things are playing into the fact that you took time out of your day to get to know this new person. And I just said, like, let's make that about each other. Let's learn about each other. Let's take this time to like really get to know each other the best that we can, because he's busy, even he's got a life, even he's going on dates with other people and trying to figure out who's right for him, and I have to keep aware of that also. He doesn't have 10 hours with me that night, like it's after work usually, and it's, you know, a quick drink or a dinner. So for me, the deal breakers are, you know, that's not a deal breaker if the person does do that, but I just don't like it. But deal breakers are when you're rude to people, or when you're not present with me. So if we are together for an hour and you're staring at your phone the whole time, and you're checking to see where your friends are going next because you're already, you know, done with being with me, that's just not to me acceptable, because we have both taken our time out of the day to be together and to meet each other, and let's be there. Let's be present with each other.
Lovely chatting with you, Aparna. Maybe 10 years from now, how are you going to look back at this show? You will have interesting stories to tell your grandchildren for sure.
Yes. Well, I'm saying all the interesting stories right now in the book I'm writing. So I am currently finishing up my book proposal. So if fans love Indian matchmaking, they'll love learning about everything about Indian matchmaking behind the scenes soon, when the book comes out. And then hopefully that will also be a part of my journey that I can share with my kids and my family one day, that like, hey, like I did this crazy experience. I loved it. It was mostly so positive, and I would do it all over again.
All right. Honestly, looking forward to reading your book, and that would be interesting, and we can connect then. Lovely
Yes,
chatting with you, Aparna. All the best, and you rock the show.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Same here. Pleasure. Bye.